Hey guys, what's up? Sean here, and today, hopefully this audio does not record over the gameplay audio, but if it does, because Sony Vegas keeps putting it in the second line, or second row here, I apologize, but hopefully it does not. I'm recording with my Astro A40s right now because I had to edit part of the video in here because there was a part where I was recording it and I was playing Minecraft with Irish, and I forgot to hit the controller, so it like dulled the screen for whatever reason that it thinks it should do that during a theater mode game. So I had to rewind, and so I edited out the part that's black. So I didn't want to have to redo all that. So now I had my A40s as my primary recording device by default on the computer, so Vegas is using it. So I'm not using the usual mic today. Hopefully the audio sounds okay. If it sounds absolutely garbage, I will change it. But I think it sounds all right now. I did a test, and it sounded fine, but maybe throughout the video it'll sound worse. I don't know. This is CTF from League Play. I'm playing with a full team against what I believe was a Masters team or something like that. They were a team, and they were all right, and I think it's a pretty entertaining game. So I'm showing it to you. And today we were talking about the Xbox One. I almost said 360, no longer requiring the Kinect to function. So today, Microsoft once again in another display of their backpedal, backpedal, backpedal that they've been doing over here with everything in regards to the Xbox One. Pretty much, they just re-announced the Xbox One. Following E3, they just re-announced everything because everything they said before is no longer true, which is what makes watching different videos on YouTube difficult because my friend was watching them. I was sitting there and he was putting some of them on to listen to what they had to say because he's not like me and other people on YouTube who know everything about everything. He just casually knows things about things, so he was listening to them talk about them. And every time, like, I was like, just end this video. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because that's no longer true either. That's not true. So it's really hard to get information because depending on when the video or the article or whatever you're reading or watching from, it may no longer actually apply. So today they announced that no longer will you need to connect to function. For those of you who are, living under a rock, previously, if you didn't plug in the Kinect, the Xbox One would not function. I don't know what they mean by would not function. Wouldn't turn on. Would like tell you to plug in the Kinect. Probably is what it would do, but it would not let you play games or watch Netflix or whatever without the Kinect being plugged in. Now, I had an issue with that because I'm going to probably be moving my Xbox One around because right now I own two Xboxes and two PlayStations. One set of them is in my room, one set is downstairs. So when people are over, downstairs is used. When I'm just playing, the ones in my room are used. So it works out. But, with the new consoles, I'm getting a PS4 and I'm getting an Xbox One. I'm not going to have two of them. So I'm going to have to be moving it constantly up and down, up and down, up and down, which isn't that big of a deal because, I mean, in the end, it's basically a power cord because I'll just leave the HDMI cables down there and, leave the HDMI cables up here. So it's not really that big of a deal. But I was like picturing, I was like, so I'm going to have to lug the Xbox One, bring my Kinect. Like, I'm going to be having this camera hanging over my shoulder as I, like, trudge down the stairs. And I was like, that's just stupid. Plus, the Xbox One's ridiculous power brick that, once again, I don't understand why we need it. The Xbox 360 has the giant power brick that Sony was able to eliminate. It just has the wire. On the PS3, or at least the slim models, I think the fat PS3 might have a brick of some kind, but I don't think it's as massive as the Xbox's Elite brick, at least. Nothing is as massive as that. I'll give them, they made it smaller, but it's still huge. So I was going to be lugging this thing and that thing, and probably I'll be buying a additional wire, because that's what I did with my 360. Before I had two, and then one broke, and then I bought a second one, so I have three technically. But before I bought the other one, I had bought a separate power cable at a store. I bought a used one, and I put it downstairs and just left it there, so all I had to do was move the Xbox and actually move the wires, which made it a lot easier. So I'll probably buy one of those. I don't know if they're going to be selling them or where I could get one, because there probably won't be many used ones going around at the time. But that's what I'll probably be doing. But no longer do I need to trudge around with my Kinect over my shoulder, which is also good for things like MLG events, because could you really see MLG having a bunch of Kinects set up? Like, what if someone said Xbox off? I assume you can turn off the voice features, but it's just stupid that they'd have to plug in this camera for no reason. So it's good for expos and all these things that are not going to want to be having Kinects everywhere if their game isn't using Kinect. The reason behind the decision, I think there was a lot of backlash to having the Kinect always plugged in, which I'm not sure. Like again, I said why I didn't like it, but there's no real reason to backpedal on that over that because it's not. That's not the issue. I'll get to the real issue I have with it in a minute. But I think one of the reasons they probably did it was I would imagine, I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine that a lot of companies came to them and said, "We're not going to be using the Kinect with our games. Like we don't know what it's for. Like we don't have a use for it." Like Activision with Call of Duty, they're not going to be using it. And I know people hate on Call of Duty and I play it and I post it and some people don't like that about it, but part of the reason they don't that matters to Microsoft is because it sells a lot of titles. And like I don't think even Microsoft is going to be using it with Halo. I don't think a lot of companies know how to use it and are going to need to be using it. So there's probably going to be a special section of games that takes advantage of what the Kinect offers, and so for that, there's not a lot of need for it. So making it always be plugged in, it's just a stupid hassle that they don't need because companies are saying we're not actually going to be using it. It's just going to be there, and people are going to have it plugged in for no reason. So that's probably what persuaded them to take it off. Now, the part that I really don't like is if you look at the price points of the two machines. The machines on the hardware side of things, just purely the machines themselves, are pretty much identical in terms of hardware. Yes, things are different. Some clock speeds are reported to be different, although no one's actually confirmed any of that. Yes, they have different forms of RAM, DDR5 and 3. That is important, but at the same time, not that big of a deal in terms of price. Yes, it is, but when you're buying in bulk like Sony is, it's probably not that much more money. So, in terms of hardware, they're exactly the same, yet they cost $100 more for the Xbox One as opposed to the PS4. Now, why is that? And that is probably, most likely, because of the Kinect sensor. Originally, the PS4 had planned to ship with the PSI, which is a lot like the Kinect, although not as advanced. And in order to cut down the price, they cut that out of the box. They don't sell that with the PS4. You have to buy it separately. I think it's $70 separately at this time. I think that is the price point they've set on it. Uses are for like the Move and stuff. So if you're into that stuff, it's there for that stuff. I wouldn't purchase one myself because I don't think the Move has much of a future. But if you're doing that stuff, that is where you need to go. Get a PSI. But they cut it out of the box to lower the price. So they cut it down $100 to $400 in the US, and Microsoft is still at $500 in the US with the Kinect in the box. Now, recently, Microsoft did an unboxing video in which they revealed that all Kinects or all Xboxes will come with a chat headset, which originally they weren't going to until consumers were like, "What the fuck?" I still have to buy an adapter to be able to use. I think I just talked too loud for the Astro. Sorry. I still have to buy an adapter to be able to use my Astros with my Xbox because the chat port has changed, which I find obnoxious that they're not shipping the consoles with that. I assume that the wire is not that big of a deal, or whatever they did is not that big of a deal, and that they could probably afford to. Hopefully, it's not very expensive. Hopefully, it's like $5. I feel like it's going to be like $20, but hopefully, it's cheap and I don't have to pay too much money for it. I would prefer they shipped it with that, but now they're shipping this Kinect sensor with all the machines because that final unboxing was one of the retail versions one of the retail versions that's been completed with everything in the box. So they were showing off what it will come with, which means that the Kinect is in the box. That's not going to be changing. That is how it is, and they're going to be selling it for $100 more, which A, I don't like because I'm paying $100 more, so of course I don't like it. B, I don't like the fact that in the future, like say February, there is the potential that they will be removing the Kinect from the box and lowering the price $100. And I also don't like it because I'm not going to be using the Kinect, so I feel like I have this useless accessory that I no longer need that you're forcing me to take. And, it's one thing to say like, oh yeah, you should always wait for price drops. But the other thing is, I'm not necessarily a loyal Microsoft customer. I feel like I'm a person who enjoys games, wants to be able to play all of them, and this is the only way. I have a PC. I have all the consoles right now. This is the only way I can be able to continue to play everything I want to play. And with all the people I want to play with, because people I know play on this system and that system, and I want to be able to play with all of them because I like them all, and I have the money to do so. But, for other people who are just loyal Microsoft customers who are getting an Xbox because they would never dare buy a PS4 or a Sony product, I think it's really obnoxious that, your loyal customers potentially you're buying a system that costs more than anyone else's because they're buying it early on and they're not waiting. I think that's really dumb and poor decision making on Microsoft's part. I mean, again, I'm not saying they will drop the price, but I think that this logically says to the average person that no longer is the Kinect needed, so they will be in the future offering a version that doesn't have the Kinect for people with less money who would like to be able to purchase one, maybe for multimedia purposes or something, but just can't afford to do so. I think it's a really risky move on their part because if they do lower the price, they're going to get a lot of backlash. I will be one of the loudest critics because I'm looking, I have to buy Plus, I have to buy Live, I have to buy all these things, I have to buy extra controllers. I don't want to pay the extra $100 for a Kinect that I don't need or want or any of that. So what do you think? What do you think of Microsoft's stance? Where are you now in the console war? I've asked this question a few times, but where are you today? A lot of things have changed. A lot of things I think Microsoft has done right. But again, I don't understand why they even did them wrong to begin with, especially with like not coming with a chat headset. I'm not going to use that headset, but I mean, it's stupid not to ship it with one. You shipped the 360s with it. You were proud of that. You know, stick with it. They're also changing Xbox Live Family, which I will talk about in a future video. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all maybe tomorrow with that video that I just made up in my head. Bye.